Hey everybody, what's up? It's Clay from the Hills Maniacs, and today I'm going to be talking about which is the best TV series between Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and The Mandalorian. So, I wanted to do this video basically because I've been a Star Wars fan forever. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a Star Wars fan. You know, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. And so, Star Wars for me has always been one of those things that I've really gotten into, and it's always had some gaps, you know, throughout the franchise, and that's kind of where these TV shows filled in, and that's what I liked about these TV shows. So I'm basically going to be trying to talk about which of these three I like, and I picked these three because they're pretty much the main three that are out currently, at least that you know people are still watching or talking about. I know there's like Star Wars Resistance and Star Wars Droids and stuff, but I never really watched those, so I just kind of want to talk about the big three. Um, for those of you that don't know, Star Wars: The Clone Wars takes place between Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and it focuses on the clones and the battles they go through during the Clone War, which we see start at the end of Attack of the Clones, and it goes until Order 66 in Revenge of the Sith. In season 7 of the Clone Wars. Now, when Clone Wars first aired, it was on Cartoon Network, and it only had about 5.5 seasons. And I say 5.5 because season 6 ended with like 8 episodes, and it wasn't even complete. It just kind of they just kind of got rid of it. I don't know why, but that's just what ended up happening. And when Disney bought up Lucasfilm, they were able to bring back a 12 episode season to kind of finish off the Clone Wars completely, where they went into Order 66. And I don't want to give away too much because that would spoil season 7, which just came out. But basically, the Clone Wars focused on the main characters of the Jedi and the clones, you know, teaming up, going through battles, fighting against the Separatists. It was a really entertaining show, and you know, season 7's now on Disney Plus. Um, and basically, I really enjoyed the Clone Wars. It's the one I got into the most. They had, like I said, 7 seasons, and when I watched the movies, you know, because I grew up with the prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, and there was always that gap, and it was always like, what happened from the end of the Clone Wars to now the clones are turning on the Jedi in Revenge of the Sith, and you know there was nothing at that time that really discussed what happened or any of the battles. I mean, they kind of referenced battles throughout the movie and stuff, but we never really got to see that. And so when they announced the Clone Wars, and they said that it takes place between episodes 2 and 3, I was like, oh, okay, this might be interesting. You know, we get to see more of the clones, and we get to see the different things that happened and what was going on in the galaxy during the Clone War, and how it not only affected the Republic and the Separatists, but also how it affected everyone else in the galaxy too, whether they realized it or not. And it was really well directed, and I really liked it. Yes, it was animated, just like Rebels is, and The Mandalorian is obviously, you know, a live action series on Disney Plus, but it was really well put together, I thought. On the other hand, Star Wars Rebels is from between, I think it's Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope or something like that. I think is when it takes place. So it's before Luke Skywalker. It's before anything in A New Hope really happened. But it takes place on the timeline, at least. I think after Solo would take place, which is almost directly during the same events as Revenge of the Sith, or there a little bit after. And Rebels focuses on Kanan Jarrus, who, when he was younger, was a Padawan who ended up surviving Order 66. His master didn't, but he did. And Kanan or Ezra Bridger, who is a force sensitive child who ends up being trained by Kanan Jarrus. Um, and he was, he wasn't really around, or at least in the temple during Order 66. I never got into Rebels as much as I did the Clone Wars, but it was still a really good, well put together series. Darth Vader's in it. They have the Inquisitors in it, which are basically Force sensitives or former Padawans that become, Sith, pretty much. I mean, they're not Sith Lords, but they use the dark side of the Force to battle, and they have these really cool lightsabers, and that's who basically Vader sends out to find any Force sensitive or surviving Jedi throughout the galaxy to kind of wipe them out, so that there will be no rebellion that occurs. And obviously, it doesn't work. But if you haven't seen Rebels, go ahead and check it out, because it is good. I've just never gotten into it as much as I did the Clone Wars. They only had like 5 or 6 seasons, I think, of Rebels, so it's not that many seasons behind the Clone Wars. But again, I really like the Clone Wars. And then, of course, the last one I want to talk about is the Mandalorian, the show that's taking everybody, by surprise with how good of a show it was. When I first started watching it, I was like, okay. It takes place 5 years, I believe, after Return of the Jedi. And, so it basically follows up on the consequences of everything that's happened in Return of the Jedi, and leading up to events of the Resistance and the Rebel Alliance and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's a really good show, but when I first started watching it, I was like, this is kind of weird, And then they introduced one of the best characters in Star Wars, Grogu, aka Baby Yoda. And from then on, it was just we have to watch this, right? We have to find out. And they just finished up season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend you check it out. The good part is you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to understand what's going on in The Mandalorian as much as you do for Rebels and the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars especially, you need to know at least Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones before you can watch the Clone Wars, because then it won't... I mean, you probably could watch it, you just wouldn't know what was going on. And Rebels is kind of the same way. Like, yes, it introduces new characters, but it talks about, Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars and Captain Rex from the Clone Wars, and it has Vader in it and all this other stuff. And so it's basically stuff from previous Star Wars movies and TV series. So you have to at least have watched those before you could watch Rebels. And yes, The Mandalorian is kind of the same way, where it introduces, characters like Bo-Katan and the Ahsoka, and the Dark Saber was in this, which is something from Clone Wars that if you didn't watch the Clone Wars, you wouldn't recognize it. But other than that, you really don't have to be a Star Wars fan, because they don't like, go into depth with having to fight against Darth Vader and having to build up a storyline for something in the future. It just basically focuses on other characters. And when they introduced Boba Fett, and Luke Skywalker was in it, and Ahsoka, and like I said, Grogu, which at the time we called him Baby Yoda before season 2. Spoiler for season 2, you find out that Baby Yoda's real name is Grogu. If you haven't seen Mandalorian, definitely check it out. Now, the point of this video was for me to which one I think is the better film or the better TV series. For me, it's hard to decide, because I do like all three. However, because I think I've watched more of the Clone Wars, I personally would say the Clone Wars is better. The Mandalorian is really good, trust me. I'm not trying to bash on the Mandalorian or Rebels. I never really got into Rebels though as much as I did in the Clone Wars. And yes, the Mandalorian has a lot of nostalgia and all this other stuff going on, and it is well directed. It has multiple different directors. Disney is doing a fantastic job with the Mandalorian, but because there's just something about the Clone Wars for me that I don't know if it's a sentimental reason. I don't know if it's just because like it was the first Star Wars TV series that I watched. I don't know if it's because it's animated. I don't know really what it is, but it I get a better feeling watching the Clone Wars than I do Rebels or the Mandalorian. So there you go, guys. That was my opinion on which TV series for Star Wars is better. This coming from a Star Wars fan like myself. And again, it's just an opinion. All of you guys can have your own opinions. If you like The Mandalorian, fine. If you like Rebels better, fine. If you like the Clone Wars like me, fine. And there's nothing wrong with any of these three. I enjoy all three of them, but having grown up with the Clone Wars is why I think I was more likely to say that it was the better series. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and if you haven't checked out Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, or The Mandalorian, all three are on Disney Plus, and if you can't watch that, Rebels and Clone Wars are available on DVD, so you can buy them there. Definitely check out all three of these series though, because they are fantastic for all three of them. And if you like those things that kind of fill in the gaps between different segments in Star Wars, different eras and timelines and stuff, definitely check these out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Subscribe.